Video opens on a hyper-detailed, black and white ink drawing. A lone, heavily armored figure stands on a crag, a colossal sword resting on his shoulder. Below him, in a valley choked with shadow, lies a sprawling, Gothic city dominated by a towering, ornate cathedral. The wind whips his tattered cape. The only sound is the low, mournful drone of a cello. Phase 1. The hook there is a prison you carry within you. It has no bars of iron, no stone walls. Its wardens are silent, and its chains are invisible. Yet it governs your every move. It is the fear of being found wanting, the terror of being judged and cast out by the tribe. We shall call it the prison of purity. It is the voice that whispers that you are not good enough, not disciplined enough, not righteous enough. It is the cold weight in your gut when you are about to speak your own truth, but choose silence instead, lest you violate some unspoken, sacred code. Today, we do not learn to escape this prison. We learn to shatter it. By watching the bloody collision of a man who embraced his scars and an institution that worshipped flawlessness, you will find the blueprint for a morality forged in fire, not dogma. You will learn to build a code that can withstand the abyss. Phase 2. The problem: the camera slowly pushes in on the lone figure's single, weary eye. We see flashes of nightmarish imagery, monstrous faces, twisted symbols, moments of visceral violence, all rendered in breathtakingly detailed ink. You have felt it, the suffocating pressure of a system that claims to hold the ultimate truth. It might be the rigid dogma of a religion you were born into. It might be the ironclad ideology of a political movement. It can even be the subtle, unspoken rules of your family or your workplace. The correct way to think, to feel, to be. The internal feeling is one of chronic, low-grade fraud. You wear the mask. You say the words. You nod at the appropriate times. But inside, a chasm widens between the person you perform and the person you are. You look at your own hands and wonder if they are truly yours. Your own instincts, your own hard-won lessons from your own pain, feel illegitimate, tainted, heretical. Think of a time you sat in a meeting, listening to a leader speak with absolute certainty about a path you knew, in your bones, was a path to ruin. All around you, heads were nodding. The air was thick with consensus. To speak out would be to declare yourself an enemy of the group's good. It would mean isolation, judgment. So you held your tongue. You became an accomplice to a lie, and in doing so, a small part of your own soul withered. You chose the comfort of the herd over the integrity of the self. This is the cost. It is not merely the sacrifice of your authenticity. That is a shallow wound. The true price is the amputation of your will. When you outsource your sense of right and wrong to an external authority, a book, a prophet, a committee, you are handing them the keys to your own mind. Your capacity for moral discernment, a muscle like any other, begins to atrophy from disuse. You become a cog, spinning blindly in a grand machine whose purpose you do not question. And when that machine inevitably turns on you, or when it shatters against the unforgiving rock of reality, you are left with nothing. A hollow shell. A ghost haunted by the echoes of commands you can no longer hear. You have forgotten how to navigate the darkness on your own, because you have spent your entire life praying for a sun that was never there. Phase 3. Solution: the image changes. We are now looking up at the imposing figure of Father Mozgus, his face a mask of fanatical piety, his wings of scripture casting a long, dark shadow. The shot then cuts to the black swordsman, Guts, his face contorted in a snarl, his prosthetic arm aiming a cannon. The contrast is stark. Divine law versus brutal reality. To understand how we forge a way out of this prison, we must turn to a parable written in blood and darkness. The confrontation between the struggler, Guts, and the dogmatic war machine of the Holy See. Guts, the black swordsman, is no saint. He is a monument to human suffering, a man branded for sacrifice, haunted by demons both literal and psychological. He is the embodiment of impurity. The Holy See, and its chief inquisitor Mozgus, represents the opposite, an edifice of absolute, unshakable, divinely ordained certainty. They are the arbiters of purity. Their clash is not a simple story of good versus evil. It is a profound lesson in the nature of morality itself. It is the collision of lived, agonizing experience with abstract, untouchable law. The central idea we must grasp is this: true morality is not found, it is forged. It is not a pristine set of commandments you discover in an ancient text or receive from a celestial authority. It is a personal code, hammered into shape on the anvil of your own struggle. It is tempered in the cold waters of your grief and sharpened on the stone of your failures. It is a morality of consequence, not of creed. A morality that serves life, not an institution. To begin this forging, we must understand three foundational principles. First, the principle of the brand. In the tale, Guts is marked with a brand that attracts evil spirits. It is a perpetual source of torment, a wound that will never heal. The Holy See would look upon this brand as a mark of sin, a stain of damnation to be violently purged. But they are wrong. The brand is Guts's greatest teacher. It is the very thing that prevents him from ever falling for the comforting lies of the world. He cannot pretend the abyss does not exist, because the abyss comes for him every single night. Your scars, your traumas, your failures, your so-called sins, these are your brand. The prison of purity tells you to hide them, to be ashamed of them, to cleanse them. But a forged morality tells you to use them. They are the source of your unique perception. They are the wounds that give you eyes to see the world's true, brutal nature. A morality built by the comfortable and the untested is a house of cards. A morality built by a struggler is a fortress. Your pain is not a mark of your damnation, it is the source of your sight. Second, the principle of the pragmatic sword. An epic shot of the dragon slayer, the massive slab of iron Guts wields. It is chipped, stained, and utterly devoid of ornamentation. Guts's weapon, the dragon slayer, is not a holy relic. It is not blessed, nor is it inscribed with sacred runes. It is, as the smith Godot described it, a heap of raw iron too big to be called a sword. It is a tool of pure, brutal pragmatism. It is defined not by its origin or its appearance, but by its function. It cuts through that which stands in his way. Your actions and your beliefs must be your dragon slayer. They must be judged by a single, ruthless metric. Do they work? Do they effectively navigate the chaos of reality and protect what you have chosen to value? The Holy See possesses an intricate system of theology, prayer, and ritual. It is beautiful, complex, and utterly useless when the demons arrive. Their sword is an idea. Guts's sword is a reality. The prison of purity is obsessed with intent and belief. It asks, is my heart pure? Am I following the doctrine correctly? A forged morality is obsessed with consequence. It asks, did my action create strength or weakness? Did it protect or endanger? Did it serve life or did it serve a ghost? Stop trying to wield a holy relic. Pick up the slab of iron that gets the job done. Third, the principle of the human anchor. A quiet, tender image. Guts gently tending to the broken casca. His expression is not one of rage, but of grim, resolute duty. For much of his journey, Guts is driven by an abstract ideal, revenge. It is a powerful fuel, but it burns him from the inside out, turning him into a monster nearly indistinguishable from those he hunts. His morality is a phantom, anchored to nothing but his own pain. This changes. His anchor ceases to be the ghost of Griffith's betrayal and becomes the living, breathing reality of Casca's safety. Later, it expands to include his new companions. His struggle is no longer for an idea. It is for them. An abstract code is weightless. It will be blown away by the first true storm. A forged morality must be anchored to something tangible, something you can touch, see, and bleed for. The prison of purity demands you love an unseen God, an abstract humanity, a distant ideal of justice. A forged morality demands you first prove you can effectively love and protect one specific person. Find your anchors. Your partner. Your child. Your closest friend. The team that depends on you. They are the crucible in which your abstract notions of good are tested and made real. Without an anchor, your morality is just a story you tell yourself. To make this clear, imagine two architects. The first has studied ancient, sacred texts that describe the perfect temple. He knows every dimension, every ritual for its construction, every prayer to be said over its foundation. But he has never lived through an earthquake. The second architect has no sacred texts. He is a survivor. He has been buried in rubble. He has seen firsthand how foundations crack, how pillars shatter, how roofs collapse. He has felt the earth heave and roar. The first architect builds a flawless, beautiful temple according to doctrine. The second builds a bunker. When the earthquake comes, the temple will become a tomb. The bunker will become a sanctuary. The Holy See builds temples. You must learn to build bunkers. Phase 4. The application, the visuals shift to a more instructive, focused style. We see a close-up of a hand, weathered and scarred, writing in a journal with an ink pen. The imagery is stark and practical. This philosophy is worthless if it remains an abstraction. It is time to step into the forge. Here is your training. 4 steps to begin building a moral code that can survive contact with reality. Step 1. Conduct the moral inventory. Tonight, take a blank sheet of paper and a pen. Draw a line down the middle. On the left side, list the shoulds, the moral rules you inherited. Every commandment from your parents, your teachers, your religion, your culture, that you accepted without question. You should be polite. You must be successful. You should put others first. Be exhaustive. This is the dogma you were handed. Now, on the right side, list what your direct, lived experience has taught you is true. Write down the lessons learned from your deepest pains and your most transcendent joys. What did your worst betrayal teach you about trust? What did your greatest failure teach you about ambition? What did watching someone you love suffer teach you about compassion? This is the truth you have earned. Now compare the 2 lists. The places where they contradict, that is the fire of your forge. That is where your work begins. Step 2. Identify your anchors. You cannot protect an abstraction. Put the journal aside and now, list by name the specific people and projects that are non-negotiable to you. Not my family, but your son's name, your partner's name. Not my work, but the specific project that you have poured your lifeblood into. Not my friends, but the one person you could call at 3 a.m. from a jail cell. These are your anchors. From now on, they are your compass. Any moral code, any decision, any should that would force you to jeopardize these anchors as a false god. It must be discarded. This is how you ground your morality in the real world. Step 3. Wield the pragmatic sword. For the next 7 days, I want you to adopt a new question for every significant decision you face. Do not ask, what is the right thing to do? Do not ask, what would a good person do? Those questions lead to the prison of purity, to posturing and performance. Instead, ask this. What is the most effective path to protect my anchors and advance my struggle? This question is a sword. It cuts through the fog of moral vanity. It forces you to engage with the world as it actually is, not as some doctrine claims it ought to be. Should you take the new job? The pragmatic question isn't about prestige, it's about whether it provides the resources to better protect your anchors. Should you confront a toxic family member? The pragmatic question isn't about keeping the peace, it's about whether the confrontation will effectively neutralize a threat to your well-being and the well-being of those you are sworn to. This shifts you from a priest to a warrior. From one who prays for a result to one who creates it. Step 4. Embrace the brand. Your past is not a liability. It is an intelligence report. Choose one failure or trauma that still haunts you. One that fills you with shame. Take out your journal again. Write it down, but this time, you are forbidden from writing about your feelings of guilt or shame. You will approach it as a tactician reviewing a battle that was lost. Ask only these questions. What did this event teach me about the nature of others? What did it reveal about my own weaknesses and limitations? What critical, hard-won wisdom did I extract from this pain that I now possess? You are not seeking forgiveness. You are seeking data. You are transmuting the poison of shame into the medicine of wisdom. This is how you learn to use your brand as a third eye, one that sees the hidden traps and dangers the pure, and the untested will walk into blindly. Phase 5. The proof, the imagery returns to the epic narrative. We see the tower of conviction engulfed in a whirlwind of demonic chaos. Mozgus is on his knees, praying fervently, but the chaos only grows. Then, a cut to guts, carving a path through the monsters, a shield for the helpless people behind him. Look to the parable for proof of this philosophy in action. At the climax of the conviction arc, when the astral and physical worlds bleed into one another, what happens to the Holy See's morality of purity? It collapses. It is revealed as a catastrophic failure. Mozgus and his inquisitors, armed with the absolute certainty of their fate, are rendered impotent. Their prayers do not stop the demons. Their scriptures do not shield the innocent. Their tortuous purges did nothing but terrorize the flock they claimed to protect, making them better fuel for the coming darkness. Their entire moral framework, when finally tested by a true crisis, proved to be nothing more than an elaborate, self-serving fantasy. Who brings order to the chaos? Who saves the very people Mozgus condemned? The struggler. The branded, sinful, man. Guts. His forged morality proves its supremacy. His pragmatic sword doesn't debate theology, it kills monsters. His human anchor, Casca, gives him a concrete, desperate reason to fight when all hope is lost. His brand gives him an intimate, working knowledge of the enemy that the holy men could never comprehend. His experience-based, consequentialist code works. Their doctrine-based, absolutist code fails. Reality itself serves as the judge. This is not mere fiction. It is a mirror to a deep philosophical truth articulated by the warrior philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche. After he famously declared, "God is dead," he foresaw a crisis for humanity. Without a divine source for our values, we would be lost, clinging to the hollowed-out moralities of the past. His solution was the concept of the Übermensch, or overman. The Übermensch is not some master race. It is a psychological state. It is the individual with the courage to face the abyss of a meaningless cosmos and create his own values. He does not discover morality, he legislates it for himself, based on his will to live, to grow, and to affirm life in its totality, including all of its ugliness and suffering. Guts is a perfect embodiment of this process. He is a man forced by overwhelming tragedy to become a creator of values in a world where the old gods are either monstrous, indifferent, or dead. He is forging a new table of laws on the battlefield, and it is this forged code that proves to be the only one with any true power. Even modern psychology validates this path. Lawrence Kohlberg's stages of moral development show that the highest form of morality is not one based on blind adherence to law and order. The stage where the Holy See operates. The highest stage, post-conventional morality, is one where an individual develops their own universal ethical principles, understanding that they may sometimes have to break conventional rules to uphold a higher, life-affirming value. Struggle does not corrupt you. It forces you to mature. It elevates you beyond the simple morality of the herd and compels you to become the author of your own law. Phase 6. The call to action. The video ends on a final, stark image. The black swordsman, his back to us, begins to walk away from the Gothic city and toward a dark, forbidding horizon. He does not look back. The Holy See built its power on the idea of a single, universal evil that could be easily identified and purged. But the struggle teaches us that evil is rarely so simple. It is often mundane, personal, and woven into the very fabric of the systems we are told to trust. And so, I ask you. In the comments below, answer this. What is one rule you were taught was an absolute moral truth, but your own lived experience has proven to be a lie? Share the wisdom your scars have taught you. If you are one who walks the path of the forge, who chooses the grim weight of a sword over the comforting lightness of a prayer book, then you have found your sanctuary. Subscribe, and join the company of strugglers. The battle with the Holy See was a war against an external prison. But the most dangerous dogmas, the most rigid inquisitors, are the ones we build inside our own minds. To learn how to wage that internal war, you must understand the seductive poison of the perfect dream. Watch our next session. Griffith's Dream, the seductive poison of a flawless ideal. Now, go. The forge awaits.